Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the update for today, which was Sunday, June the 7th of 2026. First off, I would like to thank whoever asked the calendar gods to make sure that 6726 would end up being on a weekend. So, we do appreciate it. Turns out that disaster was rectified before we got all the way to June. But just in case we are still fighting that battle when we got to this part of the year, the fact that educators across the nation did not have to make the classes recite that the date was 6/7, I think, you know, caused a significant amount of increased peace around the land. So, like I said, if we had needed that, it would have really saved us. So, thank you to whoever put in that order, even though we ended up not really needing it, but luckily. Anyway, thank you. So, I was at the store today. It was a 7 to 4 bagging shift, and actually got to spend most of the day bagging. I um, did end up unloading a pallet, and if I have some time, I'll talk about the unforeseen consequence of paper bags and space, having to do with the state bag tax. It's probably not interesting to people outside our business, but yeah, it's another unforeseen consequence of that law. And there's like a handful, there's like a dozen different unforeseen consequences of this law. But and all of them would be different stories for different nights that I don't have much to talk about. Let's see. But yeah, so unloaded a pallet of paper bags, and then got to right into bagging, which I honestly spent most of my shift doing. And this actually brings me into something that I actually wanted to spend a bit of time talking about. This is actually done multiple takes on this video, because this is one of those topics that I end up one of those ones where I'm going off on a rant and then end up back in the weeds somewhere about and getting off topic and fouling it all up. I've been shooting this video now for like half an hour, and because I keep flubbing up and going where I don't want to go with this particular part. So hopefully this is the last take. And basically, um, I when I first got into working at a store and working on a register, um, I will fully admit that I honestly wanted to work with the public when I grew up, and I, for whatever reason, had this idea that um, if I was entertaining and smiley and all of that stuff, that somehow I would make a difference and be like the everybody's favorite, checker or whatever. And so I had all sorts of little cutesy things I would do, like if a check came up approved by our check clearing service, and it likes you, congratulations, and all sorts of other little playful things. And what I found out is that really, when you're in customer service, anything, and it seems really, it makes me sad to say this, it really does, but when you are going out, if you are going out and basically if trying to do something that has the effect of basically making it where it's partially about you, which even if you're trying to entertain, okay, may have been, you're going to get pushback. And for a variety of different reasons that you don't even think about. Like, for example, I ended up, like the thing of, and people used to write a lot of checks back then, so this was fairly common. When the check clearing thing would say, approved, and I would say, and it likes you, for example. Or, you get your little one-liner and you use it somewhat often. Well, a lot of people don't think about the cashier or bagger or whatever working next to them. So your little one-liner might make a quarter of the customers smile and a quarter of them roll their eyes and half of them do nothing. But the person that is sitting there next to you hearing this 400 times over the course of a day is eventually going to get aggravated, which I learned the hard way when I was a relatively new cashier. This is about the same time that I also learned the hard way that no good deed goes unpunished. And what I mean by that when it comes to customer service is if you're trying to do something that where even if it has like their best interest in mind, but you're kind of telling them what to do, you're going to get pushback on it. And so, and it depresses the hell out of idealistic 18-year-old Michael to be talking like this, but it's true. And so, like, for example, if there is, and I say this even though that, because this is something that people that are not retail people would understand, but like, for example, if something's buy one, get one free and they're only getting one, your heart would say tell them to get another policy, but also gotten burned and actually end up pissing people off enough times with that. All right, you're getting one, your next one will be free, but I'm not saying it because somebody cussed me out over it once or a couple of times. Yep. And so I once had a manager, and well, get to her, but I went through a period when I was a new cashier, and it was rough. I really thought I was doing an awesome job. I really, really did. And then I get hauled back and told, some people don't like your joking around. Some people don't like your enthusiasm. Some people don't like this. Some people don't like that. I figured out exactly how I am expected to work as a checker for the next 20 years of my career. It was very disheartening to learn that this is what was expected when we had 14 machines ready for customers to use them if robotic was what they wanted. Obviously I'm exaggerating, but it was really soul-crushing at the time. And then I had a manager and who our personalities just didn't match. And she uses the quote that I will never forget during my annual appraisal. Unfortunately, you're just not vanilla enough, unquote. And, all right. And I think about this when I'm in stores, and not necessarily just my store, but other stores as well, when, you see a clerk that's really going further than I would go. In explaining surveys or God knows what, and knowing that they're going to be getting pushback, and might be from management, might be from customers, and eventually they're probably going to reach a point where they're like, you know what, transactional, that's what they want, that's what we'll do. And probably makes me overall a better performer at my job once I came to that realization, but it did make work less fun. And when I see other people going through that same transition, it kind of makes me sad, honestly. Anyway, with that riff out of my system, have a great evening, everyone, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Ciao for now.